Hey, you absolute legends of the internet. Did you know that a force of barely 2,500 half-naked, half-starved Greek mountain fighters managed to completely destroy an Ottoman army of 29,000 professional troops, kill or scatter 27,000 men, capture every single cannon, every coin of the treasury, and even the commander's personal harem, and do it all while losing fewer men than you have Instagram followers? Yeah, this actually happened. In the next, you're going to walk those burning cliffs with Theodoros Kolokotronis, taste the dust and gunpowder, feel the thirst that broke an empire, and witness one of the greatest underdog annihilations ever recorded. If that doesn't give you goosebumps, nothing will. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel, where we resurrect the wildest true stories your textbooks murdered. Subscribe and hit the bell right now, because we're diving straight in. Let's set the scene properly. It's July 1822. The Greek War of Independence is 15 months old and on life support. 1821 had been pure magic. Tripolitsa fell after a 6-month siege. The Peloponnese rose in flames. The Ottomans were driven into the sea at dozens of small battles. But 1822 has been nothing but disaster after disaster. April 1822, the massacre of Chios. 25,000 Greek civilians slaughtered in 1 week. Another 45,000 sold into slavery. Eugene Delacroix paints the scene, and Europe is horrified. But horrified Europe doesn't send troops. May-June 1822, Athens falls again. Acrocorinth holds out, but barely. The Greek provisional government is completely broke, split into 2 warring factions, the island politicians versus the mainland warlords. And they literally hold cabinet meetings in abandoned monasteries because they have nowhere else to go. Sultan Mahmud II in Constantinople smells total victory. He decides 1822 is the year the Greek rebellion dies forever. He picks the perfect man for the job, Mahmud Dramalis Pasha, one of the toughest, most experienced Albanian commanders in Ottoman service. Dramalis is given unlimited funds and the largest field army assembled in Greece since the Middle Ages. The numbers are terrifying. 24,000 regular infantry, almost all battle-hardened Albanian mercenaries, 5,000 to 6,000 elite Sepahi and Delhi cavalry, 6 modern French 12-pounder cannon, a full siege train, thousands of pack animals, and a baggage column so long it took 8 hours to pass a single point. Total strength, including camp followers and auxiliaries, between 29,000 and 30,000 men. European military observers watching from the walls of Corinth write home. The rebellion will be extinguished before the leaves fall. One man refuses to accept that verdict. Theodoros Kolokotronis, the old man of the Moria. Imagine a 6-foot-plus, 52-year-old Greek Santa Claus who moonlights as a warlord. Snow-white beard down to his belt, scarlet cleft cap tilted at a defiant angle. Eyes that have seen 400 years of occupation and still burn with pure fire. He was born a mountain bandit, spent his 20s robbing Ottoman tax collectors, sleeping in caves, and once escaped a Turkish patrol by jumping his horse off a 20-foot cliff into the Eurotas River. He fought for the Russians in year 1806, learned European drill from British officers in the Ionian Islands, and came home in 1821 with one sentence tattooed on his heart: fire an axe to the Turks. The politicians hate him because he's too popular, too rough, too uncontrollable. In June 1822, they actually arrest him and lock him up for several weeks. By the time he's released in early July, Dramalis has already crossed the isthmus and is burning his way south. Kolokotronis walks free and immediately issues the order that saves Greece and dooms Dramalis total. Ruthless, scorched earth. Every single grain store in the Argolid is burned. Every goat, sheep, cow, and chicken is driven high into the mountains. Wells are poisoned with bitter laurel leaves or filled with boulders. Centuries-old olive groves are hacked down and piled across roads. Entire villages are evacuated overnight. The order is heartbreaking but crystal clear. We would rather our children starve for a month than feed the enemy for a single day. Dramalis storms into the rich plain of Argos, expecting to live off the land like every Ottoman army before him. Instead, he finds blackened fields, empty barns, and a population that has vanished into the hills. Temperatures soar to 42–45 degrees Celsius, and his Albanian mercenaries start bailing the moment they realize there's no food and barely any water. Dramalis has one desperate gamble left: force the Dervenakia passes and reach the untouched granaries around Tripoli, 40 kilometers deeper into the Peloponnese. The Dervenakia defile is nature's masterpiece of murder. Picture a 2-mile-long slot canyon sliced between limestone walls that rise vertically 700 to 800 meters. At the bottom, the road is barely wide enough for 2 carts to pass. By 9 a.m., the sun turns the gorge into a furnace. There are only 3 possible routes south: the main central defile, a brutal, almost vertical climb over the Agriolida Prinos Ridge on the left, a tiny, rocky coastal track near the mills of Lerna that hugs the sea. Kolokotronis has maybe 2,500 to 3,000 fighters total across the entire region. That is literally all he places across the 3 exits. Dawn, the 6th of August. The Ottoman vanguard marches confidently into the central gorge, drums beating, green banners snapping, Albanian war songs echoing off the cliffs. They think the Greeks have fled. They are wrong. Every ridge is lined with silent Greek marksmen who have been lying in the rocks without food or water for 2 days, waiting for this exact moment. The first volley crashes down like the wrath of God. Then the mountains explode with the Greek war cry that still gives chills. Eleftheria, I Thanatos, freedom or death. Nikoteros Kolokotronis, 6'4" nephew, later nicknamed Torkophagos, the Turk Eater, leads 300 screaming men straight down the cliff face. Greek tactics are primitive, brutal, and perfect for the terrain. One carefully aimed shot, then charge with the yatagan before the smoke clears. In the narrow pass, the Ottoman 2nd, 3rd, and 4th lines literally shove their own dying comrades forward into the kill zone. British philhellene Thomas Gordon, watching from the ridge, wrote that night, "I have been in many battles across Europe, but I have never witnessed such carnage." The ravine was soon choked with dead men and horses. The blood flowed in streams. The cries of the wounded mingled with the triumphant shouts of the Greeks in a scene no pen can adequately describe. By noon, the central pass is completely blocked by a living barricade of corpses. Dramalis throws in his elite Delhi cavalry, the shock troops, who wear leopard and tiger skins and charge into cannon fire for fun. They try to force the Agriolida Ridge and run straight into the mad monk Georgios Papaphlesis and 400 of his fanatics. Papaphlesis fights with a huge wooden crucifix in one hand and a pistol in the other until he's out of ammunition and still swinging the crucifix like a mace. Ottoman losses by sunset, 3,000 to 4,000 dead. Greek losses, fewer than 30. Night in the gorge is apocalyptic. Temperatures never drop below 32 degrees Celsius. Kolokotronis had dammed or diverted every spring days earlier. The only water left is thick with blood, gunpowder, and horse urine. Men and animals start dying of thirst. Albanian units begin negotiating separate surrenders with Greek captains they used to share Rocky with in peacetime. At first light, the Greeks hit again from 3 sides at once. Kolokotronis himself rides the ridges in his red cap, shouting encouragement in a voice that carries for miles. Old Klefts, who fought the Turks 40 years earlier, weep openly when they see him. Dramalis attempts a desperate breakout toward the sea and the mills of Lerna. He slams into the second Greek blocking force under Prince Demetrios Ypsilantis at Agios Sostis. Another massacre. On the coastal track, Nikitaris, with only 120 men, holds off an entire Ottoman cavalry division for 5 hours. One Greek fighter reportedly killed 9 men with his sword before finally falling. By nightfall, Dramalis' army is no longer an army, just a panicked, thirst-crazed mob. There is no organized resistance left. The final breakout attempt collapses in minutes. The Greeks pour down the slopes like wolves. Greek chronicler Nikolaos Spiliadis wrote, "For a distance of 3 hours, march the road was covered with dead bodies, abandoned weapons, baggage, and dead animals, forming a continuous carpet over which our cavalry advanced. When the sun sets on the 8th of August, the largest Ottoman field army sent into Greece in 400 years has been erased." Final numbers accepted by Greek, Turkish, and Western historians: Ottoman dead, wounded, deserted, captured, 26,000 to 27,000. Survivors who reached Corinth, 3,000 to 4,000, including Dramalis, captured. Every cannon, the entire treasury, 10,000 horses, Dramalis' personal harem. Greek losses, official report, 37 dead. Realistic modern estimate, 150 to 250 total casualties. Dramalis staggers back to Corinth, a broken man, and dies 3 months later, officially of fever, unofficially of shame. Kolokotronis rides into Argos amid church bells and weeping crowds. Women tear strips from his cloak as holy relics. He raises one hand and delivers the most legendary line of the entire war: "God has signed this victory with his own hand. I was merely the pen." The news hits Europe like a bomb. Lord Byron writes feverishly, "Philhellenic donations explode." The revolution, which was weeks from death, now has years to live. Most importantly, the Sultan's best army and best chance to crush the rebellion in 1822 has been annihilated. The Ottomans will not launch another serious land offensive in the Peloponnese for the rest of the war. So what really happened at Dervenakia? Perfect knowledge of terrain, plus total scorched earth, plus a commander who understood his enemy's arrogance better than the enemy did, plus 2,500 men who had nothing left to lose, equals one of the most complete military annihilations ever recorded. 2,500 shepherds and ex-bandits didn't just stop an invasion. They ended it so thoroughly that the Ottoman Empire never recovered its nerve in the Peloponnese. Could something like this happen today in mountain terrain against a modern mechanized force? Different tools, same ingredients, desperation, terrain, leadership that refuses to surrender. Now I want to hear from you. Was Theodoros Kolokotronis a military genius on the level of Hannibal or Giap? Or was this victory 90% geography and 10% genius? Drop your take in the comments. Best answers get pinned. If this story of mountains of corpses, a bearded Snato warlord, and the ultimate underdog miracle set your blood on fire, smash that like button until it breaks. Share it with everyone who needs proof that the little guy can still win, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, stay defiant, stay curious, and never bet against a people fighting for their freedom.